The Bonanno Crime Family is one of the 5 families that dominate organized crime activities in New York City as part of the American Mafia. The family was founded in 1931 by Joseph Bonanno, one of the youngest and most powerful bosses in Mafia history. The origins of the Bonanno family can be traced back to Sicily. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, many Sicilian immigrants moved to the United States, bringing with them the traditions and structures of the Mafia. Joseph Bonanno, born in 1905 in Sicily, emigrated to the United States in 1924. His family had long-standing ties to the Sicilian Mafia, which helped him rise quickly through the ranks of the American Mafia. The establishment of the Bonanno family was closely tied to a civil war, a bloody conflict between 2 rival factions of New York City's Italian-American crime families. The war took place from 1930 to 1931, and pitted the Maranzano faction, led by Salvatore Maranzano, against the Masseria faction, led by Joe the Boss Masseria. Joseph Bonanno was a loyal supporter of Maranzano, who emerged victorious after Joe Masseria was murdered in 1931. Maranzano reorganized the New York Mafia into the 5 families, with Joseph Bonanno being appointed boss of one of these families, thus establishing the Bonanno Crime Family. Under Joseph Bonanno's leadership, the family quickly grew in power and influence. Bonanno was known for his intelligence, discipline, and business acumen. He maintained a low profile and focused on building a diverse range of criminal enterprises, including loan sharking, bookmaking, gambling, narcotics trafficking, and legitimate businesses. Bonanno's leadership style was paternalistic, and he instilled a strong sense of loyalty and tradition within the family. He maintained close ties with his Sicilian roots, and often traveled back to Sicily to conduct business and strengthen alliances with Sicilian Mafia families. In 1931, Salvatore Maranzano was murdered, leading to the establishment of the Commission, a governing body for the American Mafia. The Commission was created to mediate disputes and maintain order among the various families. It consisted of the bosses of the 5 families in New York and representatives from other major Mafia families across the country. Joseph Bonanno was a founding member of the Commission and played a significant role in its operations. The Bonanno family, under his leadership, continued to expand its criminal activities and consolidate power throughout the 1930s and 1940s. The 1950s were a prosperous time for the Bonanno family. They expanded their operations into new territories, including Montreal, Canada, where they established a strong presence. The family's criminal activities flourished, and they maintained a relatively low profile compared to other Mafia families, avoiding much of the media and law enforcement attention that plagued their rivals. During this time, the Bonanno family was involved in various criminal enterprises, including narcotics trafficking, which became a significant source of income. The family established a network for importing and distributing heroin, often in collaboration with Sicilian Mafia families. The early 1960s brought turmoil and conflict to the Bonanno family. Joseph Bonanno attempted to seize control of the Commission, leading to the so-called Bonanno War. His ambitions were met with resistance from other Mafia leaders, particularly Carlo Gambino and Tommy Luchis. In 1964, Joseph Bonanno mysteriously disappeared, which led to speculation and rumors about his fate. It was later revealed that he had been kidnapped, possibly by rivals within his own family or by other Mafia factions. Bonanno eventually resurfaced in 1966, but his disappearance had severely weakened his position within the Mafia. Following Joseph Bonanno's return, he officially retired from Mafia life, but his family was left in a state of chaos. Several factions vied for power, leading to internal strife and instability. The family's operations suffered as a result, and their influence waned. During the 1970s, the Bonanno family was led by several different bosses, including Natale Evola and Philip Rastelli. Rastelli took over as boss in 1973 and worked to stabilize the family and regain its former power. However, the family's reputation had been tarnished, and they faced increased scrutiny from law enforcement. One of the most significant events in the Bonanno family's history was the infiltration by FBI agent Joseph Pistone, who went undercover as Donnie Brasco from 1976 to 1981. Pistone successfully infiltrated the family, gaining the trust of several key members, including Capo Dominic Napolitano and soldier Benjamin Ruggiero. Pistone's operation provided the FBI with valuable information about the inner workings of the Mafia and led to the arrest and conviction of numerous Bonanno family members. The operation severely damaged the family's operations and reputation, and marked a turning point in the federal government's fight against organized crime. The 1980s were a tumultuous period for the Bonanno family. Philip Rastelli continued to lead the family, but he faced challenges from within. Rival factions sought to take control, leading to violent power struggles and further weakening the family's structure. In 1981, Rastelli was convicted on racketeering charges and sentenced to prison, leaving a power vacuum within the family. Several interim bosses, including Carmine Lillo Galante, tried to fill the void, but their tenures were marked by violence and instability. Galante, in particular, was known for his brutal tactics and attempts to reassert the family's dominance, but he was assassinated in 1979. By the early 1990s, the Bonanno family was at its lowest point. However, a new generation of leaders emerged to rebuild and strengthen the family. Joseph Big Joey Massino became the boss in 1991 and focused on revitalizing the family's operations and reputation. He emphasized discipline, secrecy, and loyalty and took measures to insulate the leadership from direct involvement in criminal activities. Under Massino's leadership, the Bonanno family regained much of its former power and influence. They diversified their criminal enterprises, including involvement in gambling, loan sharking, extortion, and labor racketeering. Massino also fostered alliances with other mafia families and worked to restore the family's standing within the commission. Despite Massino's efforts to rebuild the family, law enforcement continued to target the Bonanno family. In the early 2000s, Massino was indicted on multiple charges, including racketeering, murder, and extortion. In 2004, he became the first sitting boss of a New York crime family to turn state's evidence. Massino's decision to cooperate with authorities was a significant blow to the Bonanno family. His testimony led to the arrest and conviction of numerous high-ranking members, further weakening the family's structure and operations. The Bonanno family faced significant challenges in the 21st century. The arrests and convictions of many of its leaders, combined with increased law enforcement scrutiny, left the family in a state of disarray. However, like other mafia families, they adapted to the changing landscape and continued their criminal enterprises, albeit with a lower profile. Several new leaders emerged to guide the family through this difficult period. These leaders focused on rebuilding the family's operations, maintaining discipline, and avoiding the mistakes of the past. The family's criminal activities diversified, and they continued to generate income through traditional mafia enterprises such as gambling, loan sharking, and extortion. Today, the Bonanno family remains active, although their power and influence have diminished compared to their peak in the mid-20th century. They continue to operate in New York City and maintain connections with other mafia families across the country. The legacy of the Bonanno family is a testament to the enduring nature of organized crime. Despite numerous setbacks, internal conflicts, and law enforcement efforts, the family has managed to survive and adapt over the decades. Their story is a reflection of the broader history of the American Mafia, marked by periods of power, decline, and resurgence. The history of the Bonanno crime family is a compelling narrative of power and ambition, loyalty and betrayal. From its origins in the early 20th century to its struggles and adaptations in the 21st century, the family's story is a microcosm of the broader history of organized crime in America. The Bonanno family's ability to endure and adapt over the decades is a testament to the resilience and persistence of the Mafia. Despite numerous challenges, internal conflicts, and relentless law enforcement efforts, the family has managed to survive and continue its operations. Today, the Bonanno family remains a significant player in the world of organized crime, a legacy of a bygone era that continues to cast a long shadow over the streets of New York City. Their story is a reminder of the complex and often dark history of the American Mafia, a history that continues to captivate and intrigue to this day.